Reese's Peanut Butter Cups were created by H.B. Reese in the 1920s.
Hello and welcome to episode 50 of Between the Pixels. My name is Jared Reiman. Joining me today are Chase Coleman.
What's going on, guys?
And Devin Miller.
What's up?
How's it going, guys?
Good, how are you?
I'm great. Let's cut through the BS right now.
No PS.
Let's go
No
right
BS.
into it.
No BS podcast.
Okay.
This
Quick
is
and
probably
dirty.
a short one, but who knows? No
Because
guarantees.
we all rather play games than do a podcast and talk about games. Like, let's just get out of here. We got other things to do.
Well, there's that, but this week has been boring. There's nothing going on. No cool news. Nothing exciting.
Not really. And TGS is going on, right?
Yeah, whatever that is.
But
And the Emmys.
Oh crap! I forgot all about the Emmys.
Hey, man.
We'll talk about the Emmys next week.
Okay.
Speaking of the Emmys, I saw the Avengers. Want to talk about that?
You didn't like it, did you?
No, I didn't. Did you see my
What?
tweets? My angry
I
tweets?
did. Yeah, I was following along. I was
your
reading.
angry tweets.
You really didn't like it. I had a good time with it.
I don't know. Me and Devin talked about this a little bit before, but I guess I'm just not into superhero movies anymore. I didn't find anything entertaining about it. The Hulk was pretty cool, but like for the first like hour and a half, they have this really boring story that leads up to it. I don't know. I everything feels really cheesy. I guess I'm just not into superhero movies anymore.
I thought the Hulk really made that movie. He really stole the show. I would have loved to have had him in there a lot more.
The coolest part though, my favorite part in the entire movie was the one time I think Iron Man said to the Hulk, he's like, "Doctor, you need to get angry," and they do that awesome shot where it's behind him and like pans up to his face, and he turns to the side. And he's like, "That's the thing, I'm always angry."
Yeah, and then he
That was an awesome scene, an awesome shot. So
yeah, I like the one where like the Hulk and Thor are fighting, and then he just like punches him like that. He just goes and flies around. That's pretty funny.
yeah, I did laugh at that part.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
overall, I guess I don't know if it's because people hype it up so much. If it's one of those things where everyone hypes something up and then you finally see it or play it or whatever, and then it's like, this definitely isn't as good. But I didn't like it that much. Not looking forward to a sequel.
I like the last scene. The last fighting scene was pretty cool. How they put that all together. Very good production.
I like
Right.
Scarlett Johansson.
I was just gonna say that I like her, but what do you mean the last scene? You mean the whole
The whole entire
like,
fight scene, I really like
20
that.
minutes? Or
Yeah.
whatever it was.
It was a pretty long fight scene, but I think they did a really good job with it.
I don't know. I mean, I think they did well coordinating it, but
Yeah, the coordination and like the effects part of it, it was just a good fight scene. I like that.
the dialogue is so cheesy. But I know that's just superhero stuff in general. So maybe
Yeah, you read comics and stuff, and it's still pretty cheesy as well.
yeah,
But
that's why I
the
don't read
overall
superhero
writing
comics.
is better in comics, though.
Anyway, enough about the Avengers because who cares about that? I certainly don't. You
Yeah,
guys
but
want to
play
talk
the game?
about no, let's talk about iOS 6.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Let's
Let's talk about my new iPhone 5 that I
Did you
got.
get it?
let's not talk about that. Heck
Oh
no,
my
I don't have
God.
iOS X6. Why, do you have it?
Yeah, it's awful.
Do you have an
Was-
iPhone?
Yeah,
You can't share that. Now we got to pay royalties to Apple.
yeah. Well, what are you gonna do?
What's
Yeah,
awful about it?
it's awful. It makes my phone slower. Like it was more of a hassle to update it. I had to completely wipe it, restore it to the factory settings, and then I had to update it, and then I had to restore it from a backup from iTunes. It was more annoying to update it, and all it did was it added a couple new features. Like the maps are still awful. Like people are making fun of the maps like all
Yeah,
over
did
the
you hear
internet.
about all that stuff?
Yeah,
Saying,
dude,
like, the
it's
Statue of Liberty doesn't exist.
yeah, it's a joke. Like it's an absolute joke. And it changed, a couple colors here and there, and it makes it look all right. But I find that my phone runs slower with the new update. I don't know what it is. It takes longer to end a call. It takes longer to pull up an app. Things like that. I don't know. That's what I read.
Do you play any games on your iPhone?
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Does that affect it at all, or have you played with the iOS 6?
No, I have enough space on there that it really shouldn't affect much at all. But yeah, I mean the games are all right. I mean it's any other mobile device. They're all going to be the same. Nothing's really special about it.
Do they push for the updates, like whenever you just turn your phone on, or what? Because I don't get any updates like that on my iPad. I didn't know if they, even when I connect to the internet or anything, they don't say like you should update your iOS.
There's a couple ways you can do it. You can either do it through the cloud. That way you don't have to plug your thing into iTunes, or you can do it straight through iTunes.
Oh, okay.
It'll prompt you for an update. Then you have to keep your phone plugged in or your iPad or whatever.
Okay, yeah, I see it in my settings that I can update it, but did not know that. It just never asked me, like, it never came up as a pop-up, like, you should upgrade to iOS 6.
Right.
Is it something you can decline?
Yeah, actually. Yeah, you don't ever have to update it, and you can always go back.
Cool.
Yep. Good to
Well,
know.
I'm never gonna use it.
Because you're never going to have an Apple device to use it.
Nope.
Join the revolution.
Never.
Yeah, iOS or iPhone 5 just shipped a couple days ago.
I'm not getting it though.
Me neither.
Nope. But what are you getting with video games you've been playing this week, Devin? Go.
Uh, I just got done playing Tony Hawk Pro Skaters HD.
How is that? Did you finish it, or you just played a
Oh
little
no,
bit
I
of
didn't
it?
finish it. Actually, it got pretty hard for me. I was getting really frustrated because obviously it plays like the older games, like 1, 2, and 3, and I'm not as used to it. Because when you hit like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 and Underground, you could do a lot more crazier tricks and get a lot more points easier, I think. In the first 3, it was really hard, and you fell over like really dumb stuff, and you did like simple tricks and was easy just to like fall over and not be able to get big combos. And so I tried to do like a lot of crazy things to like get my combos up really high to get a lot of points, and I kept falling over, and I was just getting really frustrated. One of the big things is I know in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, I think is when they introduced it, you could go off ramps and do a bunch of tricks, and then when you land, you could like reverse your board and do a manual and continue your combo, but you can't do that on here.
No, they didn't add that in.
And I was like, I kept trying to do combos like that, but they kept ending as soon as I landed. So I was
What
like,
was that called? Revert or something?
yeah, you revert your board and then you continue doing a manual and just continue your combo, and then you can do whatever else. But so every single time you go off a half pipe, once you land, you're done with that trick. So I didn't know how to get like high amount of points, because to unlock certain levels later, you have to like beat whatever goals they give you, and some of them are like get 250,000 points in 2 minutes, and there was no way I was getting it because I couldn't figure out how to get the high points, and if you keep doing the same tricks, they go down in points the more you use them.
Yeah.
But I know you said you had a pretty easy time. You said you beat it in one sitting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I played it for a few hours in one day, and I didn't like it.
No, but
That doesn't
I don't know
surprise
why,
me.
because if you like Tony Hawk 1, 2, and 3,
It's not the same game though. It's fundamentally different. It feels different. Like you said, they're trying to add systems in. Like they're putting. I don't know about the score. I can't remember what the high scores were. If it really was 250,000 in the original two Tony Hawks, but
well, I don't know if they're the same or not.
yeah, I'm not sure about that. But they fundamentally changed the feel of the game. But at the same time, everything that was broken in the first, like, I'm not one of those people who is looking at it through rose-tinted glasses. Like, I realized what was broken and janky about the first two games. I'm not
Yeah.
an idiot. But they didn't fix any of that with HD. It's basically the same thing, except some of those they changed some of those, the mechanics of it, and they just made it look better. But it's still janky. It still can be really really glitchy at times. Um, And maybe I'm just not a fan of the 2-minute thing anymore. It was cool at the time.
Yeah,
But
I was really kind of angry. I couldn't get anything done with the objectives that they wanted you to do. Like 2 minutes, I couldn't even figure out where these jumps were, let alone like do 6 of them in 2 minutes.
yeah, but I remember in the original, when I was playing those Tony Hawk's first 200 Tony Hawk games back in the day, you would still keep playing the same level over and over. I
Yeah.
mean, you wouldn't get everything done in 2 minutes. It might take you a full 2 minutes just to find all the skate letters or something.
Mhm.
So, but I pretty much played every level maybe 3 or 4 times, maybe 5 times, and got everything done. Mostly everything done. I mean, some of the scores, I'm not even bothering with 250,000. Screw that. It's stupid. But for the most part, I got it taken care of.
You got it taken care of.
Yeah.
You got it done.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty hard. There was a lot of them I couldn't do. I wasn't able to find. There was the one level I was on, the most recent one that I'm on. I can't do some of the objectives because it's like on top of the building, and you have to take a ramp to get there. But I never can get enough speed to actually jump across it to get on top of that building to get the rest of the skate letters and to do some kind of vertical jump or something like that. And I need to do those objectives to unlock the next level because I only have 2 more levels left. But that one's just so annoying. That's another thing. Like I just can't pick up speed to do anything.
Yeah, I think like when we talk about some of our favorite Tony Hawks, a lot of us will say like, "Oh, Tony Hawk 2 was great. That one was amazing." But going back to it, even when I pop it in on my Dreamcast, because I did play on the Dreamcast originally, even when I go, don't shake your head, Chase.
It's like, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, what?
Wow.
At least I did play on the 64 or something. It looked better on the Dreamcast. It was awesome.
Yeah,
And
Dreamcast did look pretty good.
but even when I go back to it now, it's still janky. It's still busted. It's still only good for nostalgia's sake and nothing more.
Yeah.
So, I think they really miss an opportunity to take these games, and they could have fixed a lot of problems instead of just making it look better. Because I'd rather them look the same as before, and then fix all the issues that existed in the games before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just leave it the same way and make the game itself better. But instead, they're just like, oh, we'll just make it look better, and then we'll add a soundtrack of songs that suck.
Now, a lot of those songs, for me, my opinion is about like half and half. I like some of the music, and the other half I really didn't care too much for. I think for the most part, I remember them throughout the first 3 Tony Hawk games. There was maybe like 1 or 2 that I don't remember, but for the most part, they were the same songs from those games.
There was about half of the original songs and half new songs.
No.
And no, there were a couple good new songs they added, but there's like you can't even go in. You know, in the previous Tony Hawks, you could go in and you could define what songs you actually wanted to listen to. You could check mark them off, and this one you can't. This one actually has no options. I don't know if you even looked at the options.
Not at all.
But there's no options whatsoever, really. It's like,
Yeah.
do you want sound on? Yes or no? All right, that's it.
I tried looking at the specials that my character had. I played as Costin, and they were all written out with the keyboard buttons. I couldn't even change them because I was playing with the 360 controller. I couldn't even change it to that, so I had no idea how to do any of my specials or any of my certain tricks because they wanted you to do certain tricks like across gaps or something like that or across a half pipe. So like I had no idea how to complete those because I didn't particularly know how to do like a nose grind or whatever.
I don't know. I didn't
Why do you get games on the computer and then plug in your 360 controller? You do that for like every game.
I do not.
Like when you play CS:GO, like you use a controller. Like
oh no, I don't play. I don't play with a controller in CS:GO actually.
No,
if I did, I'd wreck. But if I don't, then
could you imagine playing Tony Hawk with a keyboard? That'd be
be
ridiculous.
you said you did.
It'd be like playing a Flash
No, I
game.
didn't.
Oh.
I use a controller. I did everything with the controller. I was able to do their specials and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just didn't know what they were. I bought a couple of them, but I still didn't know like what buttons to press. Because you get a bunch of cash when you beat the objectives. But I think the objectives were the same. They didn't change anything.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, I didn't
I
think that
remember
was
them.
their goal with it. Just leave it alone and just try and update it.
That's dumb. Why
It's
do
pretty
they?
stupid?
Why even put the game out?
And they picked the
'Cause-
crappiest maps. There's only like 2 good maps.
Yeah, there's school and warehouse are like the only decent ones.
Yeah, school.
Warehouse was the shit.
Yeah, and then everything else is like, you remember that mall level?
Oh
yeah,
my
I hated playing
gosh.
that level.
You
And
know
then they
why I
picked up
hated
one
it?
from what?
Why did you hate that level?
Because it's all downhill and it just like,
Exactly. It's a line downhill.
and I get the idea behind it, but it doesn't work. Like I get the idea is like, oh, it's gonna be fast paced, and you're gonna be able to like link tricks together and jump from like big objects to other objects, but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then they put a level in there from Downhill Jam. Really? Did anyone play Downhill Jam?
I
Does
did.
anyone? Okay, Chase is the one person that played Downhill Jam.
I was really into skateboarding and rollerblading.
Well, yeah, so was I. I mean, I'm not rollerblading. I was a
I
man.
bought
but
I bought every single game that involved a BMX or skateboards or rollerblades. I was on it.
Heroes Freestyle BMX. One of
Really?
my favorite PlayStation games.
Really?
Yeah. Did you play that?
Yeah, that was
I
a good
love
one.
that game.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks now when you go back to it, but
Well, yeah, they all do. And it's the same thing that you guys were talking about. I mean, unless you totally revamp the way it plays, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah. So, Devin, what did you think overall? Final verdict. Even though you haven't finished it, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, it's just if you're really into the original Tony Hawks, which I thought I really liked them, but I guess I don't really care for them as much. I like the new formula of as soon as they hit 4, where you could just roam around and then talk to people and get objectives that way. That was better.
Tony Hawk 4 and Thug were way better.
Absolutely. I
Do
don't
you
really care
guys-
for the 2-minute thing anymore.
Do you guys find that happens a lot? That you guys have fond memories of a game and you think it's really awesome, but then you go back and it sucks.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I remember playing games just a couple years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, thinking it was awesome. And I go back and play them now, and they're just god awful.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes the only thing that can hold it together is nostalgia. And even then, sometimes that's not enough.
It's not enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I get both. I usually have maybe like 40% of the games that I go back to are actually like still good experiences, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was a really good game.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain games, like some of the old Grand Theft Autos and stuff, but like, I remember how for the longest time, I'm like, Medal of Honor Underground is my favorite Medal of Honor. And then I went back to play it not too long ago, I'm like, holy crap, how did I ever play this? It's not dual analog. You use just the D-pad and you're moving forward, left, and right with that, and that's it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I still think it's the best game. That's because I haven't gone back to play it. Yeah.
That's what everyone thinks.
I really like Medal of Honor Underground. It's like my
Yeah,
favorite
me
one.
too.
But in games like GoldenEye, like I used to be so good at GoldenEye, like so incredibly good. And then I try and go back to play it now, and I'm like running into walls. I'm like looking up and down, like, oh,
I
it's
never
horrible.
thought GoldenEye was as good as everyone made it out to be. I was
Ah,
never
dude,
as
it
big
was
a
the
fan of it.
best.
I liked.
It was the best.
I'm sure it was, but like if you had people to play with, but I didn't. So I was, I was that one kid that was like, I like the.
You just played the campaign. That's all you did.
No, I didn't even do that. I played the sequel called The World Is Not Enough. I don't know if
Yeah.
anyone has played that.
I played that one. I'm pretty sure.
Everyone bought it because of GoldenEye, and then it was awful, and then no
I
one
love
bought
that
any
one.
other. Did you really?
Because it had bots, and because I had no one else to play with.
I have friends. Look at you, bot.
I had one friend. No, I would go over to his house and we'd play against the bots, and that was because we couldn't play GoldenEye 1v1. That's boring. And then
Yeah.
Devin used to sit outside the door and watch us.
You would bring that up.
we
I mean, that wasn't true. That's not true. He's joking.
we wouldn't let Devin play with us, so we'd make him sit outside the door, and we'd crack the door open just a little bit, and he'd sit outside the door and watch us play.
No, it was more like I didn't want to come in and disturb you guys from making out.
Don't be jealous.
I was.
But speaking of HD or just remakes of games or whatever, we'll come back to Borderlands 2 because I know me and Devin have a lot to say on that. But I want to talk about Blake. I want to talk about Black Mesa very briefly because last week I made a statement saying that you couldn't appreciate Black Mesa if you haven't actually played the first Half-Life. But I think I'm completely wrong in that statement because I went back. I've completed almost everything of Black Mesa. I'm right at the end. And for those of you who are wondering, they actually don't have the Zen level in there, that very last one where Gordon goes to the alien world. They don't have that in there yet.
What did they do? Did they just not finish it?
It's apparently going to be updated and just patched in or whatever.
Oh, okay. Because I haven't gotten that far. So
Have you in the original Half-Life?
Yeah, in the Black Mesa, I
Oh
haven't gotten that far.
no, I mean like when you played Half-Life originally, did you
Oh
finish
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say Zen isn't. That's just a weird part of the game
Yeah.
anyway. So I'm really anxious to see what they're gonna do with that. Maybe they'll make it not so weird. Um, but I was saying last week you couldn't appreciate, but I think I'm completely wrong in that statement. Because everything that they've done with Black Mesa, I feel like they've updated it in a way that it is acceptable for an audience today. Because like unarguably, I think Half-Life is one of the most important games in this industry, and I'm not saying that just because I'm a fan of it, but the way it's influenced so many games that have come after it. And I know there's a lot of games like that out there, like Ultima 4. Like that is a game that is was very influential. Did you play Ultima 4?
Loved it. Yeah.
See, I never played Ultima 4, but I tried to go back and play it, and I can't.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
mess.
yeah, again, like we were just saying. Yep.
It's yeah, it's so hard to get into, but it is so
Hmm.
important to the industry, and it had such an important impact on it.
It
And
did so many things right. It really did. But it's
yeah, and like
just again, like
Half-Life's
we
the
talked
same way.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, like the original Half-Life, I don't think is as bad as going back to Ultima 4. I think Ultima 4 is a lot more archaic
Yeah.
than the first Half-Life. But there's a lot of people who would go back and look at the first Half-Life and just be like, I don't get how this was important. And maybe they won't even get that if they play Black Mesa, but I think they might get a better idea if they would play Black Mesa. But the only thing I really wanted to change about my statement was that Half-Life is a great game, and they fix a lot of the issues that were wrong in the original Half-Life, because the original Half-Life wasn't perfect by any means. Um, but it's one of those games. If you are interested in playing games that were important to the industry, then I would highly recommend playing Black Mesa. And even if you don't care about that and you just want to play a good first-person shooter, I would say play Black Mesa, because I think it would still stand up to today's standards.
Yeah, it's one of those games that you're really not going to get disappointed. And it's kind of like even like the new generation of gamers today going back and playing like the original Legend of Zelda or like the original Super Mario Brothers.
Oh heck no, not
Like
Zelda. Zelda's
like
terrible.
but it did everything like new for the first time back then, and like gamers this generation really aren't gonna grasp just how important it was to like see a game that scrolled all the way to the side, then you got to the end of the level, things like that.
Right. Yeah, no, it's. I mean, maybe Mario's easier to go back than Zelda, but uh, I think this also just brings up a good question about the preservation of gaming history, because like movies and stuff like that, music, whatever, you can go back to that stuff regardless of the time. I mean, maybe some people don't want to go back and watch black and white or silence movies or whatever, but you can still do it and it's still easy to watch. But some of these older games are really hard to get into, but they're so important to the gaming history. Uh, I mean, I don't even know how that. I mean, that's a great question about the preservation of gaming history, and I don't know how we can't always have developers go back and remake all of their games and stuff. But I'm happy that someone did do this for Half-Life, because it's one of those games that needs to be preserved, and I think this version of it is probably the best version out there, and hopefully that would be something that people go back to on a regular basis just to look back at gaming history.
So you think it lives up to today's standards of a first-person shooter?
I do.
That's what you're saying.
I don't think it's not, if you're expecting something like Call of Duty with a bunch of set pieces and that sort of action, you're not going to get that. But it does live up to today's standards in terms of visuals and gameplay, and the overall production of it, I think. But it's still very much an old school first person shooter when you play it. Like fundamentally and gameplay style, it's still very much an old school first person shooter.
Yeah, the reason it was so good back then was because of the story and the way it was told was so good,
Yeah, it did a lot of things that first person shooters didn't do at the time, and
and they
it
still don't.
yeah, some still don't.
They're still bad.
Yeah. But what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, is it really that bad to go back and play the first Half-Life though?
I think it
Like,
would be, as someone who has never played it before, and if you're used to first person shooters of today, like say you were born in like 1998 or something, and when Half-Life came out, and you're not used to anything like that. You all you know is like Halo, Call of Duty, uh,
Battlefield.
some Battlefield, Medal of Honor, it's kind of stuff like that. Those kind of experiences. When you go back to that, it's like going back to Doom or something. Um, it's such a huge shift. Graphically and gameplay wise, like you're not used to it, and it seems weird, and the level design seems weird, and
Hmm.
it's really Half-Life was never really a great looking game. Like all the NPCs in the game look like they're sick and dying, and there are some things about it, like the weapons that you're using aren't great, especially when you go back to it now. So I think Black Mesa is a much better, more up to date, more polished version of the first Half-Life.
it's
And
kind of
it's
funny you
worth playing
mentioned
by
Doom
anyone.
though,
Why?
because the first time I ever played Doom was just a few years ago, and I mean, obviously we played Call of Duty and Halo and those type of games now, but even going back to Doom, like I really had a fun experience. I wasn't like, oh man, I can't believe anybody really liked this game. Like I really understood like why it was so big when it came out. So
Yeah,
some games just, I mean, even though you couldn't even look up and down, I mean, it was still a really fun game, and I like appreciate it for what it was, even though I didn't play it back in the day.
yeah. No, I think you can totally appreciate it, even though you didn't play it at that time. But it's sometimes a harder barrier to entry. I think Doom is not the best example in the world
Yeah,
for me to bring up, um, because it's very easy. But something like Ultima 4, which is very very complex, it looks really terrible. I mean, it was great at the time, but it looks terrible now. Uh, it's really hard to understand if you're not used to playing something like that. So even going back to Half-Life, which I mean, it's just a first-person shooter. It's not super complex, but you're always going to be comparing it to what you know, like the games you've been playing. And so comparing it to that, it would be like this game looks ugly, the level design looks weird, but they fixed a lot of that in Black Mesa. Like even though Half-Life at the time had great level design and it was very innovative for the time, it's not so innovative now. And I'm not saying Black Mesa is innovative, but it makes it just more relevant, I guess, today's standards.
Playable,
Playable,
enjoyable.
understandable, enjoyable. But yeah, I was recommending it only to people who played the first Half-Life, but I'm going to change that and say I recommend it to anyone because it's a great piece of gaming history, and it's actually just a lot of fun. Even if you just want to play a different first-person shooter that isn't like Call of Duty, or your standard set pieces, we're going to blow everything up and shoot brown people kind of game.
You know the best part about it?
What?
It's free.
And it's free, yeah, as long as you have the SDK.
Yep.
So let me ask you guys this: if you could have any game at all remade, like reimagined, I'm not talking about just like an HD up conversion. I'm just saying any game, your ideal game to get the Black Mesa treatment, like the redesign of the levels, new voice work, all the whole 9 yards, everything. What game would that be?
Damn.
you don't do this crap to us, Jared.
I
Yeah,
just
I'm
We're
a
thought
not like
spot.
right in the middle.
you
I would
gotta have a
say-
game. You have to have a game that you're thinking like, if I could have this game remade up to today's standards, I can name like 4 of them right now.
All right, go ahead.
You could probably guess my number 1.
GTA 3.
No, but that would be great. But
I
what is one game that I've talked about on podcasts since the beginning of our podcasting experience?
Resident Evil 4.
God no.
Yeah. I just want to see that on every single console ever.
Yeah, they need to port Resident Evil to more stuff. Can you
Right.
port Resident Evil 4 to some
Actually,
other stuff,
Remake
Capcom?
it. HD.
That's funny. I was thinking
They
about
already have an
Resident Evil
HD
3.
remake. Yours would be Resident Evil 3?
I was thinking about Resident Evil 3, but they did kind of remake that for the GameCube.
No, I'm not talking about... No, they didn't. They didn't remake it on the GameCube.
Well, they ported it to there.
Okay. Yeah, but it still looked the same. I'm talking about like a full conversion, not just HD graphics, but everything's better. It's not like Tony Hawk where they just added HD, up the visuals, added more polygons. Not just that, but like a whole total conversion. So like if you pick like GTA 3 for example, they would fix because the shooting in that game was terrible.
Mm.
So like if they fix that, like that would be, I mean, fixing that would be part of the conversion.
I got mine. Gauntlet Legends.
Is that the one on the PS2?
It was on PS2 and N64.
I
It
think I remember
was
that one.
it was the one that had the Valkyrie, the warrior, the jester, and the dwarf. It wasn't
Okay.
the one where you had to like buy moves, like because that one was awful. I'm talking about the one where you walked into a room and then there was like 5 circles on the ground, and everyone who had to play it, like everyone who was playing had to stand in the circle at the same time. Like that one I'm talking about. Because it was awesome. You bought items.
That sounds pretty awesome.
I know at the time you cycled
There
through
are
items.
items and
So they're like,
everything.
I know. So you like changed your weapon, or it like gave you like invulnerability for a couple seconds or whatever. But then you like leveled up and it was awesome, and you had to like eat food and open chests and stuff. It was a good time. I really enjoyed it. It's one of the funnest times you'll ever have. And one of the funnest times I've ever had playing couch multiplayer. You put 4 people together. GoldenEye, Gauntlet Legends, and Super Smash Brothers are top 4 or top 3. For sure.
These 3 games
can
are top
count.
4.
I can count, yeah. Right.
Devin, do you have yours?
I'm trying to think of yours actually instead of my
I'm surprised you can't. It's a game that I've talked about so much.
Final
Even
Fantasy
kids,
VII.
yes. No.
That'd be up
Although
there for
that'd be
me.
nice.
Yeah,
that'd be one of
kidding.
them. But my number 1 game,
What's it start with?
D.
D.
Deus Ex. The original Deus Ex.
Oh, the original Deus.
That's right. You
Yeah.
do mention that freaking game every podcast.
I love that game. That game is amazing.
Podcast.
And if I could have a total conversion like Black Mesa style, that'd be the best thing ever.
See, I was gonna say the original Diablo as well.
That's better than Diablo 2.
I still think Diablo 2 is awesome.
Yeah, Diablo 2 is still good.
You can go back and play Diablo 2 and have a freaking fantastic time. Still to this day. It's on my computer still.
Seeing as it's like the first time I played it was not too long ago.
Really?
Yeah, it's probably like 3 years ago was the first time I played Diablo 2. But yeah, it was a really fun game for being made in like the 90s.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Devin, what's your
What?
answer?
I'll just go with Resident Evil 4.
Capcom, could you port that to something, please? That hasn't been ported recently.
Well, you're not talking about
Street
porting.
Fighter.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
Vice City would be a nice one for me. I'd really like to have that again.
That would be a good one. Vice City would be on my list as well.
Mostly because I don't know, well, if they would like re-release it for the 360 and PS3 or something like that and have trophies and achievements, I would really feel the need to like. I would really be excited to play through that game again.
Oh yeah,
A
Not
Link to the
just-
Past.
not cause yeah, that's.
Oh shoot, A Link to the Past. Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Love
That's,
But
that
would
game.
that's
you
my
want-
favorite Zelda.
But would you
Yeah,
want
that
that one
too.
to be made in 3D, or would you want it to be like very high res 8-bit or 16-bit?
I like it the way it was. I think
Yeah.
it was good because it played like that. I think if you make it, Ocarina of Time, no.
No, they should have changed. They should actually change it to and go back to the bird's eye view, like Grand Theft Auto 2, and that would have been better.
What, in Grand Theft Auto Vice City or what?
Yeah, the remake should be the bird's eye view
That'd be
from
cool.
GTA 2. It's a different
Actually-
experience.
What they should do is Capcom should work on the the version of Vice City.
Capcom should work on more ports for Resident Evil 4.
And then
Before
no,
they
but
even
they
put
should port Resident Evil 4 into Vice City.
Dude, don't
because it hasn't
joke
been
about
ported
that.
there yet.
Don't joke about that.
Hasn't been ported there yet.
Now that I said that, it's gonna happen because Capcom. Anytime they hear someone talking about Resident Evil 4 and something else, like we gotta port that.
That's gonna sell millions.
You can get that on your TI-89.
Well, yeah, you can. I forgot about that.
Speaking of TI-89.
Actually, yeah. What?
Actually, speaking of Diablo, since Chase mentioned that quickly or briefly, I'm gonna quickly mention Torchlight 2 because I started playing that the other day. I haven't put a ton of time into it, maybe like 2 or 3 hours. And my initial impressions, I'm going to talk about this more next week because I can actually talk about the details. But as someone who I didn't play Diablo 3 the way that Chase played Diablo 3, so I can't say it's better on that level the way like he enjoys it, but the way I enjoyed it, I think Torchlight 2 is better than Diablo 3.
I'm buying Torchlight 2 tonight, so
Blasphemy.
if you want to play, yeah.
All right, cool.
And we'll talk about it next week. I'm about to play the shit out of Torchlight 2 because you're exactly right. People are saying that it is a much better experience than Diablo 3 altogether.
Did you play the first Torchlight?
Yeah, I played the shit out of the first Torchlight.
I love the first Torchlight, and this one makes the first Torchlight look like garbage. This one is fantastic.
Torchlight 2 was phenomenal until you got to the never-ending dungeon at the end. Spoiler alert.
Torchlight 1?
Yeah. Is that what I said?
No, you said
Torchlight 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, Torchlight, no.
Damn it,
Torchlight...
did you say Porchlight?
You guys play Porchlight 2 yet?
You guys turn your Porchlight
It's a great game.
There's your Porchlight.
You can turn your Porchlight on and off.
Yeah, Torchlight 1 was phenomenal until you got to the never-ending dungeon at the end, and then it was just boring and repetitive.
Yeah.
And like your items never really got better. The enemies never really got stronger. You just kept going down and down and down. But
they have
yeah, I hear Torchlight 2. I have a whole chart on just how much bigger Torchlight 2 is than Torchlight 1.
Really?
And it's
like
phenomenal. Yeah.
Just in terms of like how much content.
It compares Torchlight 1 to Torchlight 2, and it's night and day. It's so much bigger, so much better. So I'm buying it today.
Yeah, even just the way it plays. I mean, fundamentally it plays the same, and like the way it handles. But I'm playing a like before you can only be like a warrior class and like a mage class, a sorceress. I forget exactly what the words were, and this time around you can be an engineer, which is like this steampunk kind of character who I'm playing as, and they do like melee damage and range damage with like guns and bows and stuff like that, whatever you want. But it feels very customizable to the character that you're playing, and there's a lot of nice little things like the tech tree. It looks like there's a lot of different ways to go in terms of how you play your character, how you spec your character. So you can have like multiple engineers, but not each person's playing the same kind of engineer. And one little thing, which maybe it's sounds dumb for me to say to some like hardcore RPG players out there, but I hate when you play a game like in Diablo 2 where you can level up and put points into stuff that doesn't matter. Like I don't even want to see that stuff. And in Torchlight 2, they only give you the stats that matter, so you can only level up those. And I know that sounds like a dumb gripe because you could say just, well, don't put points in there, but it's like, why would you give me that option anyway? And that's
so you're saying like, all right, so like in Diablo 3, like every stat point matters, because even if like let's say you're a wizard and you put a stat point in dexterity, it still adds to your block percentage. So even though it doesn't affect your health or your damage output, it still affects your block percentage. So are you saying that it doesn't affect anything in your character?
Well, like it'll only give me like for because I'm playing an engineer, it'll only give me 4 options: vitality, strength. I can't remember the other 2, but there's no extra options. And maybe I'm misunderstanding it, but I remember like in Diablo 2, you had the option of leveling up. Like say you're playing a sorceress, why would you ever need to level up your strength?
To wear items.
But why would you need to wear like heavier items as a mage or a sorceress?
Some sets or some of the like higher armor like that you put runes in to make rune words. Like some of them required like 75 strength, and you only started with
Okay.
20.
Okay, so maybe Diablo isn't the best example, but I
Yeah,
know
but I'm still
in
I
in some
understand what you're saying
RPGs
though.
they give you
Right.
that stuff because like I'm not one of those people who wanted to sit there and agonize over stats. I mean, I like to look at it. I like to be able to spec my character the way I want, but I don't want to sit there for a long amount of time and like decide like, well, should I put this amount of points in this stat or that stat? I just want to be like, okay, these are the 4 stats you have. I like how it's very streamlined. Like these are your 4 stats. This is how they're affecting your character, and then you put them in there. You don't have to worry about like 8 different stats and trying to change all those little sliders around.
Yeah, waste your time.
Yeah, and that might be a small gripe. Some people might not like that, but that's one thing I like a lot about it. But um, anyway, I'll save the rest for next week because there's a lot more to talk about. It's a huge game. Briefly, I want to talk about Steam Big Picture. I've been using Steam exclusively as Big Picture this entire week just to try it out using the controller, and it's not perfect. I know that like goes without saying, but already it is way better than anything that Microsoft or Sony has done with their consoles. It's so streamlined, it's so simple. The way you can jump between the games you're playing, jump from your library to the store to the community stuff. It is so easy to use a controller. Writing messages with the daisy wheel is great. It takes a little bit getting used to, but once you get used to it, it's fast and it's simple.
Better than a keyboard.
Not better than the keyboard. None of it's better than using a keyboard, but I would even say that the store looks better in Steam Big Picture because it has like the boxes across. You scroll through box pictures of the games you want to play or the games you want to look at to purchase or whatever.
Does that like connect in a way? Is that what you mean or no?
I guess it's like.
I mean, the 360
better.
dashboard using Connect.
Yeah, I guess sort of like that. Like if you think of the Metro style 360 dashboard where it has those square boxes that you can kind of scroll through, except it's not covered in stupid ads and everything's not convoluted and hard to find. Everything's very simple. You can switch between all your different groups and to install games, to download games, to whatever. Everything's just very, very simple and easy to use, especially with a controller. I don't really have any complaints. I mean, it's not great. It can sometimes be janky at certain parts, like when you're trying to use the online browser. It works, but it's a little janky right now. But for the most part,
beta though, right?
It's still in beta, yeah. And anyone can join the beta. All you got to do is go into your Steam thing and say you agree to betas, and then it'll update. And then you'll have this big thing show up in the right-hand corner that says Steam Big Picture. You click on that, it goes full screen, and then you're able to use a controller. And it works great. So,
Have you hooked it up to a TV?
no. But I mean, I just use the monitor that I play my 360 on as well, so no, we had the question whether or not you can use a controller with like obviously they're not going to go back and update every game, but once you start a game, if you don't have mouse and keyboard to use, you can't play that if it's like a mouse and keyboard only game.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no.
Really?
Really, you still can't play it,
No,
even
get
if it
outta
doesn't
here.
support it.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
not saying. Well, there probably are ways that they could go back and put software in there that could realign all the keyboard inputs to your controller. So that each developer wouldn't have to go back in and do it. But I doubt Valve would ever do something like that because that would take too long. But works great. Try it out if you're interested in having Steam on a giant TV. That's all I gotta say.
Well, I already have everything on a giant TV, so I'm good.
Well, for those who don't, Devin.
What about those who don't have a giant TV?
Oh, then you're out. Steam doesn't
Then
want you.
no Steam Big Picture for you.
They don't want you touching their stuff, so shut up and go away. Borderlands 2, Devin. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
All right.
What do you want to talk about?
All right. Well, I
Borderlands 2?
figured we can break it up into the goods and the bads.
Okay, good, great environment, love it.
Yeah. Looks way better. One of my biggest gripes of the first one was the environment. It was boring, it was bland, it was repetitive,
Brown.
it was just brown.
It didn't look good.
No.
No.
Same old boring crap.
Mm-hmm.
The enemies were pretty much the same. The bandits, they all looked pretty much the same.
Yeah, character models are boring. The you start out in a snowy area, and right off the bat, I think it looks amazing. I think it looks. I said this to Devin, and I know he doesn't agree, but I think this is one of the best post-apocalyptic looking games that I've ever seen in terms of environment and details and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it looks really good, and for what they put into the environment and the places you can explore are really nice. I still really gripe with the fact that I have to load to different parts of the map. I wish it was literally like a big open world. I don't know why, but I just gripe about that a lot.
No, I don't disagree. I don't like that either. I hate that it's not just one big world that you can run around and explore. But in terms of just visuals, like the last game killed it for me. Like looking at the same environment over and over, I couldn't stand that. It drove me insane. And maybe that's not a big gripe to everyone, but the environment's super important to me. And it's got to be interesting.
Definitely.
It's got to be varied. And this one definitely has been changed and is a lot better. Even when you get to the part where it's like all brown stuff, it looks way better.
There's just stuff there. Like before, I just saw like there was
Yeah, more
mountains
stuff.
and like rocks. Like I mean, there's actual things now. Like there was this huge like ship that was like it just like wrecked on top of like an iceberg or something like that. And you make your way up to the ship and like actually go through it, and it's kind of obviously it didn't wreck like perfectly horizontal, so it's kind of tilted. So you play on the ship and fighting people, and it's kind of like tilted on your screen, so you're kind of like walking back and forth sideways a little bit. But I mean, it was just a really cool looking ship, and you can tell it was kind of degraded a little bit, like it's been there for a while. But like there's just more stuff in the maps rather than just like there's just a mountainous area.
Did you lose, Devin?
And Devin.
And where's Devin? It's a good screen to stop at.
Yeah, I like it. I'm gonna take a screen cap of that.
Well, I'll keep going. So yeah, the environments are a lot better, a lot more varied. The guns, in terms of the actual gunplay, I think it feels pretty much the same. I wasn't a huge fan of the first Borderlands. I think Devin liked it a little bit more than I did, but I didn't love the first Borderlands. But I always thought the gameplay was great, like the actual combat of the gunplay. I thought that was really solid. In this one, it feels a lot better, or it feels the same. What am I saying? I'm like lying right now. It feels the same.
With Devin gone, you're gone.
Yeah, no, well, I'm
Yeah.
like watching to see if he comes. He just
There-
disappeared off the screen. What happened?
Oh, my internet went out for a second. Sorry.
Oh,
I don't know what happened. I don't know, like they gave the connection to you or whatever, but
well, we moved
Go
on.
ahead.
I started
Yeah.
talking about the gunplay.
okay.
Gunplay solid, still a solid in the first one.
The
Agree?
gun. So well, yeah, I guess. I mean, it's all right. I don't know. I guess it depends what gun you have.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like there's, in terms of the different types of weapons, the elemental guns seem like the most powerful ones, at least right now.
You gotta have something like corrosive or fire or
Fire.
something like electricity, something, or else like really, you don't do much damage. I mean, this game is hard, like really
Yeah.
hard. If I couldn't imagine playing by myself.
Yeah, because me and Devin are playing together, and then I'm also playing by myself on a different character just to get a feel for the different characters, and I die so much playing by myself. That's I know we're moving into a bad part of it, so we'll get
Oh, we're
back
still
to
on.
the
Are we
good.
still on good stuff? Is that why?
Yeah, I think the combat's good. So,
Okay.
but we'll talk about that real quick, just about the difficulty of it. Playing by yourself or playing with someone else, it doesn't feel any different. There's no like scaling. Like when someone joins your game or leaves your game, it still feels the same level of difficulty. So they're in essence they're basically forcing you to play with someone else, or you can just die a whole lot, which is what I do.
We both do, even playing together. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
constant. Like sometimes it's actually easy because you just fight like regular bandits, but then they'll like release these humongous dudes, and they'll give you like 4 or 5 of them to fight. They all have rechargeable shields and are really hard to take down, and maybe like have shields or something, so you have to like hit them in the back to do more damage. And it's just like okay, and there's nowhere for us to run, and they can like catch up to you and hit you, and like 1 or 2 hits and you're dead. So it's just like out of nowhere, you're screwed and you're gonna die.
You guys playing on normal difficulty?
There is no difficulty that I know of.
Yeah, there's no real difficulty change that I know of.
It's just
But
gets hard.
yeah. The I don't even know what I was gonna say. I forgot.
I mean, it turns into a game of just, I mean, alternating dying for each of us and just healing each other.
The first game I thought was a real walk in the park. I don't think we died like maybe a handful of times.
No.
It was really easy. And then this one they just I think they realized that and then they ramped it up the opposite direction. And now it's just way harder.
But I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing though, because I still enjoy it for being actually difficult and actually having to change my weapons depending on who I'm fighting.
No. I don't hate it when you're playing with someone else, but if you're playing by yourself, that's where it's a negative thing because then it's just too hard. It needs to scale in difficulty. And if it is scaling, you can't tell.
Yeah, I thought supposedly it is, but
Well,
maybe
they
just
need
can't tell.
to change that. And like I'm not someone who I wouldn't say like I'm awesome at games, but I'm not terrible at first person shooters. I'm not gonna it sounds really retarded to
I'm
say.
pretty amazing at first person shooters, so if they make something difficult, you know it's hard.
Yeah. If I can't complete it, then you know it's a tough game. But I hang back and I'm not like rushing in fighting I'm trying to fight a ton of guys at once. It just can be pretty hard playing by yourself. But anyway, so back to the good stuff.
Okay.
So I think the combat and the gameplay are pretty solid. I think it all works well.
Combat,
I don't have any gripes with that. The one other good thing about the guns is in the previous Borderlands, it felt like you're always using the same weapon for a long amount of time. Like supposedly the bazillions of guns that are in that game, it always felt like I was using maybe like the same 3 weapons for a really long time, and then I'd eventually pick up something different. And this one, I feel it seems like I'm changing weapons fairly often. Not too often that it's annoying,
Yeah.
but often enough where I'm not hanging with the same exact gun for an extended period of time.
I just feel like they shove a million weapons in my face every time we get to a new area. I'm at least finding 9 to 12 weapons, different types of guns. I'm just like,
They're not always better though.
no, I know they're not always better. It's just a constant hassle of trying to like figure out, okay, this is an assault rifle. I have to look at my assault rifle weapons and see which one's better, because they just give you like the arrow up or down of the current weapon that you have.
Yeah, that's a bad thing about that. The way you compare weapons is very annoying because the easiest way to do it is to either equip the weapon in your hand if you're looking at it on the ground, because it's going to compare to whatever weapon's in your hand. So if it's a shotgun and you only have like 2 slots open, say you have a sniper rifle and assault rifle equipped, then you have to go into your menu, switch out for the shotgun, and then compare the shotgun to that. Or if you pick up the shotgun, it's in your inventory, you have to equip that shotgun and then compare it to the shotgun that's in your bag. It's like, how hard is it?
Brutal.
Or you can do what I do, just memorize all the numbers real quick and then go through your other weapons and see if it was higher or lower.
I like that
Yeah.
way.
Either way, but if you want to compare it to one weapon, like maybe even if you have like 3 shotguns in your bag and you want to compare them, it's a complete mess.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's so hard for them just to compare it to, if you're looking at a shotgun on the ground,
Mhm.
compare it to the shotgun that's in your bag.
Yeah, just if you have a couple shotguns in your bag, just compare it to the maybe the best one you
The
have.
best one, yeah. But
How
it doesn't do
difficult is that, Bungie? 2K? Jeez,
Thanks a lot, Bungie.
Playing a lot of Reach lately. No.
What other else is good, Devin? Dialogue is good. I think it's better than the first one. Supposedly a lot of people think Borderlands is funny. I don't really laugh at it, but it's lighthearted, fun humor
Yeah,
or fun dialogue.
it's
Music?
interesting enough. Is there music?
I don't know. I turn it down.
I don't hear music really.
We'll get to that later.
Oh, speaking of dialogue, they say boner farts in the game. Get it? Because that's humor.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah,
I
some
don't
of the
think
humor's
it's funny, but it's interesting to listen to, I guess.
yeah. The dialogue is entertaining, but a lot of the humor is really childish, like dick and fart jokes. Which, not that I'm above dick and fart jokes. I mean, I edited the podcast last week with an opening dick joke, but it actually wasn't about the dick joke. It was about Devin's response to what I said, which was funny. That's why I put that up there.
It was because we can do it better. That's the difference.
Yeah, yeah. We're
Right. Hire us for your writing. Right.
There's one part in the game where you're going around and you're killing these creatures called bullymongs, and this guy wants to like rename them to something else, and he couldn't think of anything else, and he ends with like, whatever, let's just call them boner farts, which I guess like boner farts is kind of funny, but
See, Chase is laughing like hysterically.
Chase likes it a lot.
So we're kind of mature and we
I
don't think
love
it's
it.
funny. Chase is like,
I love it. I'm 7. All right. Whatever.
I'm not above it. I just
No.
like that's like the level of all the writing in the game, and not a lot of it delivers. It's not clever stuff. It's like stringing together things that like boner farts obviously aren't a real thing, and the idea of your boner farting is kind of funny, but but for the most part, the writing isn't that funny. Is what I'm getting at.
You don't want to play those games with me, man. I'll be cracking up the whole time.
Not that I won't laugh at a good dick joke. It's just
yeah,
Right.
it wasn't good.
their delivery of it. If I was delivering it, it'd be hilarious.
It's all in the delivery.
Right.
So what are some bad things, Devin?
The vehicle driving, I still don't like that you can't just push the right trigger. and-
Vehicle is terrible.
What's so
Horrible.
funny?
You're
still
like the
thinking about
vehicle
boner farts.
driving.
The
Dark.
vehicle driving is terrible. It's like, I mean, Halo did the exact same thing, but it wasn't even. It was worse than Halo's driving. Driving a Warthog and just pushing the left analog stick up and left and right to turn. That wasn't as bad in Halo, but in this one, it's just like I
Well,
can't.
if you've
seem
played
to
the
get
first
to go.
one, it handles the same, and it sucks.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. They should change it. I like the R trigger, left trigger to stop and go.
Even just the handling of it, because like I'm using mouse and keyboard, Devin's using controller, of course. And
Okay, yeah, this is the few times that I actually use it. Whatever.
Devin's
I'm
barely.
going back and I'm listening to every single podcast. Every time you say that you play a PC game with a.
We have a barely relevant episode, episode 15.
I
It's a
played
two-parter.
Diablo with mouse and keyboard.
We have a barely relevant episode. It's episode 15. It's a two-parter where me and Devin argue for 2 hours whether PC or console are better, and he
It was terrible. Why are you promoting this?
yeah, but don't listen to it. But my point is,
Was he on the? He was on the console side.
yeah,
Yes.
he was on the console side.
Oh yeah, it was all.
Wow. I
all
hope
me,
you
me?
just take. Oh, wow. I hope you took that just for the sake of playing devil's advocate.
No,
No,
not at
no,
the
no.
time.
Full believer.
Wow.
Devin's a barely functional retard, so he has to play with a controller, like most console people.
I mean, yeah, keyboard. There's just too many buttons. I'm just like, what's up? Why are you
No.
supposed to be typing with these things, not playing games?
Single-handedly alienating every single console viewer we have.
Yeah. Well, there's always got
I
to
would still defend console
be a
gaming.
PC dick. No. I love console gaming as well as PC gaming. I just don't like Devin. But so in Borderlands 2, it's the same as Borderlands 1 when you control it with the PC or mouse and keyboard, and it's complete garbage because you use W to go forward and then use the mouse to turn and just turning left and right, and it's terrible. I mean, not that using the actual arrow keys or ASDW would be better for turning, but I don't know. It's a mess. It's not any better on controller or mouse and keyboard. So that sucks.
If you even have to compare it to Halo driving, it's bad. Because
Yeah.
driving anything in Halo has always been bad.
Yeah, it's been bad, but it's not that bad.
Shut up, Devin. So classes in Borderlands 2 still suck.
Yeah, I mean, they still don't matter. I mean,
They don't matter.
we don't even have to help each other. I think at one point you said, Jerry, you told me, you're like, oh, the Siren is like a healing class, and I have no options to get anything that's healing whatsoever.
Maybe eventually.
That's not true. I have one thing.
It's not like, but it's not like you're helping each other. It's not cooperative. There's nothing about the classes where you have to work together. And I ranted about this in the first Borderlands a lot. But why even on your own, the classes don't matter. because I'm playing Zero, which is an assassin. Devin's playing a siren, and I'm playing on my other one. I'm playing a berserk or gunzerker right now. And all the specials, all the abilities, nothing matters. There's nothing that matters in that entire skill
It
tree.
just gives you an advantage to like, oh crap, I'm about to die. I'm going to use my ability to get me out of this crap situation.
Sometimes, like mine is ridiculous. I create a clone of myself, and that's
And
it.
he just starts swinging his katana everywhere.
He doesn't do any damage, and I guess I can just sneak around then but it's only for 5 seconds. There's no point to it. Like, what's the point of this whole thing?
Now you can hide behind a rock or something.
And Devin does. Devin, his is actually decently useful.
Mine is useful. Yeah, I do like it.
He can like lift someone up and suspend them in the air and hold them there, and then we can attack them. They can't do anything; they're like frozen. That's the only useful one. The Gunzerker one, he just dual wields both of his weapons, but I guess because the idea is it can do more damage, but it really isn't that big of a help. I don't know. The classes, I'm really disappointed again because I was really hoping for DPS classes, make it like an MMO, basically. Have a healing class, have a DPS class,
have us pay
tank
$20 a
class.
month.
Yeah, have us pay subscription fees.
Yeah,
But
so the
overall-
costs are terrible.
Yeah, so that hasn't changed. But despite that one issue, that's probably my biggest issue with the game. Despite that, I'm actually enjoying Borderlands 2 a lot more than I am Borderlands 1.
I would agree, but also as a general sum, this is how I feel whenever I play the game. When we play the game, I feel like, okay, we're just gonna run around together. Doesn't really matter if we help each other or not. Maybe when somebody dies, but we just go and kill a bunch of people, loot whatever we can. I don't care. I just open a box and immediately take everything. I don't read anything at all. If it's a weapon, maybe I'll be like, hey Jared, do you want this? But other than that, I don't care. I just pick whatever I can until I have a full entire bag. Then I sell a bunch of weapons. If I think I have a crappy weapon, I'll change it out with something else and try it. And within like an hour to 2 hours, I get kind of bored of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm enjoying it a little bit more than Devin, but at the end of the day, it's still one of those games that I'm surprised that it's so big. Because it's decently fun, but I just don't get... People blow it out of proportion because when it comes down to it, the missions are mostly boring. They're almost like MMO missions where it's like, go to this place, do this fetch quest, and then drive all the way back to this other place, hand it in, get another quest, and then drive somewhere else that you probably were already at and do another fetch quest sort of thing, kill X number of things, pick up X number of things. The mission structures aren't enjoyable, and really the classes don't matter, so it just comes down to just a basic shooter with different weapons. So I said I like it, and then I just talked down about it. But
I guess the only big hype is that, oh my gosh, it's a combination of the FPS RPG thing, but it really, I mean, to what
RPG
extent?
shouldn't even be mentioned in the same breath as that game because it's not even the RPG elements might as well not exist. So that's that. Borderlands 2. That's it. Chase, did you want to talk about anything?
I've been playing Heart of the Swarm. It is the the new expansion for the new expansion for Starcraft II. What was pretty cool about it was before I got in the beta, I've been following a lot of the pro players and stuff that got into it. So before I was really even in it, I've been following it a lot and following all the updates and stuff that they're doing for it. The one thing that I will say about it, they've really changed the map structure and how the maps are laid out, especially for high level competitive multiplayer. Everything is a lot different. You'll notice that your second base will have a really small ramp, really small choke point, and it's really easy to take. And then your third base is it's bullshit. It has like 3 openings. It really sucks. I think personally they're really imbalanced right now, and I really hope they change it. I think 2 of the races got so much more powerful, and they really screwed the alien race, the Protoss race. I guess there's 2 alien races. But they really screwed Protoss. They're really doing them an injustice, I think. I hope they change a lot. I'm gonna have a lot more to say on it when the full game, the full expansion comes out, and I get to talk about the campaign and everything and where the story goes. Because unlike a lot of people, I'm really, really interested in the storylines of games like StarCraft and Diablo and stuff. Even though I talk about the gameplay a lot, I really enjoy Blizzard stories. Except for World of Warcraft. I don't like the World of Warcraft story.
Really?
Yeah, I'm surprised you never got into that game, but we talked
I
about
really-
that before.
Yeah, we did, but I really like World of Warcraft's story. I'm tired of the gameplay, but I like the lore of it all.
Really?
Do you know
Well, no,
a
it
lot
has
of
great lore. No, great lore. But the actual story, I think, is boring.
Like the overall arching story, like what NPCs are saying, I don't even read that crap. But like if you've read any of the books or anything, that stuff's interesting.
Yeah, I've read 4 Diablo books, 2 StarCraft books, and one World of Warcraft book. And maybe it's just because I never really got into the game.
Is okay.
Absolutely.
Maybe I have no idea what Heart of the Swarm is. That's because they were gonna break it up into 3 pieces. This is the second piece. Like this is continuing the first.
Okay, so there's 3 races, right?
Yeah.
You have the Terran, which are the humans.
Zerg Rush.
Zerg, which are like little bugs. Think of them as bugs.
Yeah, Zerg
And then
Rush.
and then there's Protoss, right? And then there's Protoss. So they're like high level psionic aliens, you know. So the first one was Wings of Liberty, which was mostly the Terran campaign, so humans, and now you have Heart of the Swarm, which is the Zerg. So
That's the other camp play.
What about the third one?
can't play.
What about Protoss?
I'm not sure what they're gonna call it,
Resident
but that's
Evil.
because when they did the original StarCraft, they had all 3 in a row in the same game, and then when they did the expansion, they had all 3 of them in the expansion. So what they did with StarCraft II was it was just the Terran campaign, and now they're releasing the Zerg campaign, and now they're doing the Protoss campaign.
Do you have a problem with that? Because I know that was kind of a big controversy at the time. Everyone was flipping out about Blizzard, thinking they're trying to rip everyone off.
Because
Yeah.
of
You
feel like
separating
that?
it?
Yeah.
I don't feel like that just because I want to make love to Blizzard, but mostly people freaked out because they were like, oh, $60 for the games, $44 for. I know I saw your shirt. I was going to talk to you about it after the podcast. I really
It
want
says
one.
Blizzard. It's this company. They make primarily PC games.
Yeah, they're not bad. But yeah, people freaked out, but I think if you play the campaign in StarCraft II, it was really good, like really really good. The Probably the best real-time strategy campaign I've ever played, and yeah, if you watch like the preview videos or like the sneak peek videos of what Heart of the Swarm expansion campaign is going to be like,
I
it's
won't.
pretty epic.
I don't. I won't. But
Yeah.
I trust.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't care at all.
I trust your opinion.
Right, thanks.
I back StarCraft too.
Did Protoss really get screwed in terms of new units though?
Did you just look that up on like a forum or something?
No. What's the legit
Repeating
question?
things that I'm saying.
No. Why?
Do you
say
think
that?
the Zerg Rush is a good
Bible
strategy?
strategy, right?
What about the Warhounds being removed temporarily?
You're just looking at the patches, right? Or the
No.
comment,
Or the carrier
comment?
being brought back? And did
Carrier is
Protoss-
being brought back. Yeah, that was Protoss players were freaking out because the carrier was
Good
a
question, Dad.
really yeah, very good question.
you.
It was a very high tech unit, but it was entirely way too weak, and so the devs told them that they were just going to take it out. But they brought it back because everyone was so pissed about it, and everyone loves carriers even though they're bad. That's a story behind that.
Did you answer the question about the Warhounds being removed temporarily?
No, I didn't answer that. The problem with Warhounds was that the Terrans already had so many options when they went the mechanical route, so they can either go biological and get units called the Marines and the Marauders. Those are basically like guys with guns that shoot guns. Or they could go mechanical, which you can get like siege tanks. They're just like big tanks that shoot and really far. Or they got these like really speedy guys. They look like they're on motorcycles. And the Warhound kind of combined them, and they were way too powerful and way too fast. So right now, just for like competitive play in the beta, they just removed them until they can figure out a way to bring them back.
Okay, that's good that they're removed then. I would agree.
Yeah, how do you feel about that, Devin?
I mean, I hated the Warhounds actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was unbalanced.
Yeah, totally.
What
All
do
right,
you,
so let's take a break and we'll be back in a little bit here.
I had more StarCraft lingo I was gonna throw
Yeah,
out.
bull crap.
I was trying. What do you stack on? I don't know. Isn't there? Whatever.
Strength
Let's take
and
a break.
dexterity.
Yeah. Put more points into dexterity.
Right,
Every class put more points in dexterity. Go.
right.
Resident Evil 4 would be a lot better if you could put points into dexterity.
If Capcom remade StarCraft, it'd be awesome.
Yeah. If they remade
Yeah.
StarCraft with Leon,
With
as-
Resident Evil 4 and
Leon as his own race.
and
And you had to
Claire.
protect Ashley.
Yeah, you could make a bunch of Ashleys, and then they
Yeah,
just sit
with-
around and whine.
With Claire too,
I'd fucking shoot him if I could. I hated her.
and then spend a lot of time having her go up half the ladder so you look up her skirt.
Break.
Break time.
Sarcastically, if there's one thing the Uncharted series is known for, it's the story. And Uncharted 3 is no different. With humorous intent, it's like Indiana Jones meets the creativity of Infinity Ward. No, but seriously, the gameplay is solid, and I barely noticed that it introduces a new character that helps you solve a few puzzles and then disappears for the rest of the game. Humorously, he's like Wedge Antilles except somehow more useless. Sincerely, the gunplay and platforming are top-notch as usual. And the set pieces blew me away, particularly the ocean liner. Skeptically, but then I thought, it's highly improbable that even Nathan Drake would manage to find himself in all these situations in such a short time. Slightly bitter. Then I found out the developers designed the set pieces first, and then designed the game around them. Wearily cynical. Oh, good. Hastily. In conclusion, it's not as good as Uncharted 2, but still very fun. I recommend it if you're bored. Goodbye.
Welcome back.
No news,
To-
no discussion.
Nope, no news. Nothing cool happened this week. New PS3 model. Who cares about that? It's
Did you want to talk about
top-loading.
that at all?
It's
Nope.
top loading. That's ridiculous.
Stop loading. It looks ridiculous, and who really cares at this point? We don't need another PS3. All the people who want PS3s have a PS3.
There's like 80 different models of the PS3 already.
Sony does too many revisions of their hardware. Stop it.
Yeah. Oh well, no. 360 does the same amount. They've had the
No.
same amount of
No
revisions.
way.
No,
They-
There's
they
only
need to
three
do a special
PS3s.
edition.
There's
There's
three
only two
360s.
Xboxes.
There's three Xboxes. There's an Elite
What's-
version.
The Elite version is the same. No, the Elite version just had a bigger hard drive.
It's black too.
Are you talking about the more square one? Are you
No.
talking about?
The Elite version, the one I have. Yeah. No, that's not the Elite version.
There's only two versions. The Elite version you have, color doesn't matter. That's not a redesign of the system. Like the original Xbox looks the same, and then like regardless of it being Elite or not, because the Elite version is just a bigger hard drive. That's it. And then this one, which is that Connect Ready one with
That's a Slim.
the
right.
wireless. Yeah, I guess you could call it the Slim. That's the only other model they have. Everything else is just different hard drive size and some minor tweaks. But I wouldn't call it like a new system altogether.
I mean, they introduced it that way though, like as if it was a huge big thing, just like the Slim.
Microsoft is dumb.
Okay, so new PS3.
Just too many
Obvious-
revisions.
Obviously, that just indicates that we're not going to see a PS4 anytime soon.
No, well, Sony said that that was a way to help extend the life, which is bananas because they're not even going to drop the price on the old PS3s. They're just going to
Really?
keep it exactly the same. Yeah, everything's going to cost the same. It's ridiculous.
Then
So-
there's no reason to get the new one, or to buy the old ones.
I guess if you want a smaller one, or something, who knows? Sony makes a lot of great decisions, so why should we question that?
And they go from the CD player base where they like suck in your disc to top loading now. That was a
Yeah.
great decision.
Yeah, real strong decision there. What else? Valve is working on hardware development. That's all we know. And Microsoft is working on wearable controllers. What was that?
Go Valve. Boo Microsoft.
There's not much to say on that other than
Valve is
that
also making Half-Life 3.
it's probably going to be It'll come out when Half-Life 3 comes out. It'll probably be a controller, the hardware from Valve.
Devin's
That's
gonna be all over that controller. You kidding me?
Yeah, every controller's ever made, I skit.
Yeah, well, that's what it's probably going to be. So anyway, enough about that fascinating news that we said we weren't going to talk about. Let's do emails let's do email
Sounds way better.
Congratulations.
because we got one.
Sweet. We got
That
one.
wasn't about podcasting. So
We don't tell our secrets.
Brian, and it's not Brian that's been on the podcast because the spelling was correct. So I was
I know. When I read that, I was like, Brian. I was like, no, the spelling. He looked pretty.
it's like there's good sentence structure here. It's not him. So Brian asks, and I don't know where he's from or anything. It just says Brian. So, hey guys, I'm new to the whole podcast thing, and I just started listening to you guys. I'm working my way back through your episodes right now. I don't know if you've talked about this yet, but I have 2 questions about listening to different music instead of the game's soundtrack while playing a game. Is that something you do? And if you have, are there now any songs that when you hear it, you associate it with the game you've played? Well, let's start with the first part. Do you guys ever listen to different soundtracks while playing other video games?
Absolutely. That's a must. I mean, if you're a person who plays a lot of games, you definitely do that. I guarantee it.
Soundtracks in video games get so old after a while. Even the good ones. Because even if it's a game you play a lot, hearing the same good song still gets old. Especially after like hours and hours of playing that game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're invested in a game, and especially if you just don't care about story or anything like that. I mean, there's plenty of games I play, maybe even just co-op, like you don't listen to the soundtrack or anything. You just play with a friend, you talk with your friend, or you just listen to other music or listen to podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts, especially when I played WoW. I mean, WoW might be an exception because it's an MMO, but still.
No, I'm the same way. Like, there's certain games I won't listen to music with. If it's a very story-driven game, unless there's like some downtime, like boring stuff I'm doing, I won't always listen to the soundtrack. I might, throw on a podcast or something. But yeah, World of Warcraft, I played the majority of my World of Warcraft listening to podcasts. Like I don't listen to music as much anymore. I used to do that when I was younger, listen to a lot of music while playing. I do the majority of listening to most of my podcasts while playing games. That's how I get through all my podcasts I listen to.
Yeah. Even going back, say, 8-9 years ago, when I had the original Xbox, and kind of the big thing to do was like take CDs and kind of burn them into your hard drive so that you could play them while you were playing video games. I did that a lot too. Like I always brought up my playlist, and even with games that had decent soundtracks, let's go back to Tony Hawk. When I played Tony Hawk Underground on the original Xbox, nope, I did not play Tony Hawk Underground on the original Xbox. I played that on PS2. But anyway, I think I played...
But if I did, this is what I would have done.
I played some
Right.
kind of Tony Hawk on the original Xbox, and I just played my own playlist or whatever CDs that I burned on my 360. And I did that with a lot of games.
Yeah, and I even find that when I used to play games like Call of Duty or Battlefield, and I was pretty serious about it, running with a squad and everything, I would turn the music completely off if I was wearing like a headset or something. It's not about listening to another song or another soundtrack, but if you can completely silence the music and any other like ambient sounds except for like footsteps or like in-game sounds, so you can hear like gunfire and stuff in the background, like that's actually a very viable strategy for you to do if you play games like that as well.
Yeah, like if I'm playing something like Halo and I'm playing competitively with someone else, I won't listen to anything else. I'll just focus on the game. But sometimes if I'm playing a multiplayer game like CS:GO or maybe just jumping into Halo or Call of Duty or something, I will throw on a podcast or something and listen to that because I'm not playing super serious. I'm just playing for fun, and
Mm.
I'll just listen to that.
Yeah,
But
it's mostly just those games where you just don't really care what's going on. You're just kind of just enjoying just like running through the motions of the video game
yeah,
and what it is, what's there.
like
Yeah.
when I play a lot of platformers like Mutant Muds or something, that one I even though it had great music, I turned everything down and I just put on podcasts and listened to that.
Mm.
I mean, I don't like throw it on while I'm listening to or like playing Heavy Rain or something. Not games like that are very story driven or heavily focused on that. I don't ever change any of the sound.
What about specifically single player games? Is it only? I mean, you mentioned platforming. Is it only the ones that have the stories, in-depth stories?
It depends. Like I'll listen because I'll have it like in my iTunes or whatever, and spacebar is your pause. So like I might be playing a game where it's just like a shooting sequence and you don't really have to worry about anything. So I'll just listen to the podcast while playing. I still have the sound on the game turned up, but I'm listening to the podcast. I have that much louder. And when it comes to a scene where there's actual dialogue, I'll just hit the spacebar real quick to pause it, listen to that, and then I'll start it back up.
Yeah, and if you play on an emulator on your PC and you speed it up, like when I play Earthbound or like anything else that I just want to like skip a scene real quick, or if you just play on a higher speed, the sound gets really messed up, and you get that really annoying like 8 or 16-bit soundtrack going like it sounds horrible. So I'll just end up muting it completely and just listen to like songs or something.
Devin, you didn't answer your question.
What? I did.
I
I've been
wasn't
answering it the
listening.
whole time. What are you talking about?
No, the last question
Oh,
about single
my
player.
own question, single
Yeah.
player. Yeah, really, it's just if I'm into the game a lot. If I really care about the story, even if it has a good soundtrack, I think I'll listen to that for a while. But then eventually, I'll just be like, I'll probably just listen to something else. Even like VVVVV, I listened to the soundtrack for the most part of that game. But then there was also times where I just wanted to like, hey, a new podcast came out, or I wanted to listen to certain music, and I just turned that on instead.
Yeah, like I think the best example for me would be the Grand Theft Auto games. I played those to death, and I pretty much have every song and every piece of dialogue memorized that's on the radio station. But sometimes I would just like to turn that off and listen to my own soundtrack while I'm just running around doing missions, causing havoc and stuff like that.
Yeah, mine would probably be Diablo 3. The sound is completely off except for like the moves and stuff and like the footsteps and stuff. I keep that on. But the music is completely off. I'm always listening to something different.
Like I'm doing that with Torchlight right now. I just have turn everything down except for the effects, and then I listening to podcasts. So the second part of his question, he said, "Are there any songs that when you hear it, you associate with games that you've played? Like, are there any songs that you just hear, even when you're not playing a game, you just hear it and just it reminds you of that old game?"
Now they're not
Yeah.
talking about the soundtrack songs, right? They're talking about like regular music, like from
I think,
bands or
yeah,
musicians.
I think he's talking about like if you've listened to music while playing a game. Now that you hear that music, do you associate it with that game in your head now?
Yeah, I mean, I do. Another game that I totally forgot about was Minecraft, because you don't need
Yeah.
sound at all in Minecraft during the daytime. At nighttime, you got to hear the creepers, but during the daytime, uh, every time I hear any Dave Matthews, Dave Matthews Band song, I immediately think of Minecraft, because back when I first started playing it, I just had Dave Matthews Band going on in the background, and I don't know. You see the image on the screen, and you hear the sound, and it just merges in your brain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, dude.
For me, I played a ton of Vice City and Grand Theft Auto 3, but this one's more specifically with Vice City. I played a bunch of that, like I said before, and I had like everything memorized, and I love the soundtrack. I mean, that's one of my favorite soundtracks, even like the custom stations and stuff. I love that entire soundtrack. But sometimes I would turn it off and I would throw on my headphones, and there's this band called Alexis on Fire, and their first self-titled album. I listened to that so much while doing specifically the ambulance missions in Vice City. So if I hear anything off that first album, I am reminded of doing all those ambulance missions.
That just shows you how long ago that game was made.
Why?
The
Was
first
Alexis on Fire?
album, yeah.
Oh, first album was amazing. What about you, Devin?
There's a couple. I specifically remember certain songs. Actually, the whole first album of Taking Back Sunday. If I listen to any of that, I'm reminded of playing RTCW
Oh yeah.
a lot. I don't know why, because like I kind of played that game online and just bought that album Taking Back Sunday, so I would listen to that all the time, and I didn't even wear headphones. I would just like turn it on my boombox, a long time ago, and I'd play RTCW if I was playing by myself. So I played.
What's a boombox? Yeah.
Yeah, what is a
Who
boombox?
calls it a boombox? What are you, the ghetto?
What are they called?
You put it on your shoulder while you were
CD
playing?
player or something? I don't
Well,
know.
no, the big ones. What are they called?
Yeah, boomboxes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
suck it. And
White folks.
I think the more recent one is probably just because I played this song over and over while Jared was at my place one time when we were playing WoW. When I played Census Fail, that one song.
Yeah.
Or
I don't know what it
maybe
is,
a couple of songs. It's called Lost and Found. But there's a couple of songs as well on Census Fail that if I hear that, I think of WoW, and that's playing WoW.
Yeah, because you play that so much, it associated like of me being at your house. That's why I associate that with playing WoW.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is I don't think people appreciate music in video games as much as they should.
I see, that's the thing. Like, I love music in video games. Like, I think World of Warcraft has one of the most beautiful soundtracks that I've ever heard in a game. The orchestral music is absolutely beautiful, but the listening, sometimes they're just doing like monotonous grinding or whatever, and the music is great, but it's not always the best thing for me to listen to. Like, I want something else to focus on, because you ever play, and it's really in those games where you get into like a zone where you don't even have to think at a certain point. And that's why like some of the platformers and some of the multiplayer stuff, like you don't even really have to concentrate that much. You just start playing. But like that's why I like having something else on, like podcasts, and so I can concentrate on what they're saying. And actually, that's the best way for me to get through a podcast anyway, because I don't just throw on a podcast and sit here and listen to it. So
Yeah, it helps you from zoning out.
I mean, I appreciate the music. It's just sometimes I need to do other stuff at the same time. Multitask. Anyway, any other thoughts, folks?
Nope.
All right, let's wrap this crap up. This was episode 50 of Between the Pixels. 2 more, and it'll be our 1-year anniversary. So stay tuned for that, because we don't have anything special planned. But actually, it won't even be our...
In 2 weeks, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I thought you said next week for some reason.
No. But it actually won't be our 1-year anniversary technically, because we're actually 1 episode behind, because we started with episode 2. So episode 3 will technically be our 1-year anniversary. Anyway, if you have any questions, that was a good question. Thank you, Brian, for emailing us. Email us again. If you have any questions at all, you can email us podcast@pixelperfectmag.com. If you want to follow us on Twitter, or you want to know anything more about us, know about our website and what we do, head over to pixelperfectmag.com. Follow us on Facebook, rate us on iTunes, we're on Stitcher. I think that's everything. Chase, any final words for the people?
Congratulations on 50 episodes, guys.
Thank you.
Half a century.
Devin, you look confused. Any final words for the people?
Yeah, when are we leaving Pixel Perfect? What do we get out of this so-called hellhole?
50, we're out. It's over. Is that your final word?
I love the whole crew. I love you all. You're the best.
Well, that's very sweet. And last thing I have to say, Bayonetta fans are insane.
Yeah, so is the Wii U.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Anyway, see you next week.
Yeah.
Of course you have Reese's peanut butter cups on hand. Chase, how do you say the name of that candy?
Reese's.
Oh my gosh. You and Devin don't know how to pronounce words.
Reese's peanut butter cups.
Reese's.
Reese's.
Peanut butter cups. Thank you. Oh my gosh.
How many people do you know
Finally.
named Reese's?
Everyone calls it Reese's
It's
here.
not a person's name, you retard.
Yes, it is. It's
Yes,
Reese.
it is.
His name is Reese, so it's Reese's.
Yeah.
Reese's peanut butter cups.
Chase, you disagree with me.
Yeah, I do, but everyone calls it Reese's.
Oh. Not the people I know.
The person who created it, his name was not Reese.
It doesn't matter. It's still pronounced Reese. It's not like you look at... It's disgusting.
That's fucking gross.
I ain't that. Grom.
Nom, 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 nom.
If you didn't work out, you'd be the fattest fat kid that I ever knew.
Dude, I should just list the stuff. I spent like $80 on food yesterday.
Get out of here.
What was it on? What'd you buy?
I went to a fair. Bloomsburg Fair.
Oh, so you bought like elephant
Spent
ears and shit?
$8. What's else?
Yeah, you gotta get fries.
I got
Yeah,
cactus
$8.
taters. I got cactus taters, a gyro, apple dumpling, 2 whoopie pies, a bunch of candy bars.
You were only there for an hour. What wait, what are cactus taters? Cactus taters.
Basically, they're
Cactus.
almost still like the level of chips, but what they do is they take like potatoes and put them like on.
They're almost on the level of chips.
I mean, like you know, like you ever have like scallop potatoes? They're just like kind of like thick, circular potatoes. These ones are actually they put potatoes like on a drill, and it just kind of like makes like spiral circles of potatoes.
Have you ever had scalloped potatoes? They're like circular thick potatoes.
They're almost regular potato chips.
They're scalloped potatoes. You know how they're almost like potato chips?
Okay, because potato chips are just really, really thin.
Devin, where's the rest of your face?
Scoot back.
Well, you know how. Well, I had cactus taters and.
Okay, well, who cares? You should look it up. Cactus taters are really good.
No, I know what they are. The spiral.
Just ask me why.
I didn't know, but we didn't call them cactus taters
Oh,
because
what
we're
are
not
they called?
retarded.
What are they called?
I don't know, spiral chips or something. We're more innovative.
Okay.
Reese.
Yeah. Gyros though. Gyros are amazing. I had a blooming onion. I
long
had this
were you there
amazing,
for?
amazing homemade ice cream. Oh my gosh, it was so good. They actually made it there at the stand in some kind of like.
Some kind of ice cream
They had a
maker.
bunch of like these pumps that they were making this ice cream, and it was the best ice cream I've ever had. And
That's a bold statement.
What
it
kind
is
was
the
it?
best ice cream I've ever had. What?
What kind of ice cream was it?
I got pumpkin and vanilla.
I've never had pumpkin ice cream.
But, I mean, it's pretty good. Pretty cheap too. What else did
How-
I eat?
How long were you there?
About 9 hours. From
What the crap do you do at a fair for 9 hours?
1 to 10.
Ride the
Okay,
Ferris
obviously
wheel?
you've never been to a
Besides hating your
Bloomsburg
life.
fair.
I've been to
Bloomsburg
a fair, and all fairs are trashy.
Did you wear that tie?
no, dude. Yeah, obviously you've never been to Bloomsburg Fair, because it's like not on the level of a regular fair. It's the biggest fair like in the country.
That's
Okay, so I'm assuming that's a fact.
No, it is. It is. It's the biggest fair.
I'm looking that up now.
At
Biggest
least in Pennsylvania.
fair in the country.
You said the country.
Well,
America's
whatever.
biggest and best state fairs. Right here.
Okay.
There's one fair. What the crap?
Exactly.
Top 50 fairs. Matt, going to mattscarnivalwarehouse.com. That is the premier place to find out about fairs. Okay, well, whatever.
No,
I wouldn't
but
spend-
I mean, what else did I buy? I bought so much food. I can't remember.
That's so much money. $80 at a fair. I mean, fair food's expensive.
No. I mean, that was the cost of like everything. I paid for gas to get in to park.
Oh,
Like I just
so you completely lied earlier.
Yeah, it wasn't just on food. But then I played a candy game where I spent $20 on a candy game.
Where I ate all the candy I could find in my car.
No, it was a candy game. Like a candy game. It was really cool. This candy game, all they do is just spin this wheel, and there's numbers from 0 to 11, and you just put a quarter on a number, and if it lands on that, you get, depending on like where it lands on that number, there's space for like 2 candy bars. You can get 3 candy bars or 4 candy bars, or a whole entire box of candy bars. And
Like
so,
if this was a legit thing you could do at a casino, Devin would be broke.
oh my gosh,
If you
like,
could
go
gamble
through
for
money
candy bars.
so fast. Me and Sarah, like, I just kept putting money into it. They kept giving us quarters, and me and Sarah would just split it. We just kept putting like we would both put a quarter on a number, and then she'd spin it, and then we'd lose, of course. And then, but like that's the thing. It's kind of like the slot machines. Like you win every so often, so you just like want to keep playing.
Yeah, for candy bars. When you could
So,
just
like,
you could just go buy them.
I know. Yeah, but it's not as fun.
Okay.
What if I could have won
You
a
could-
box?
you
You
could
could
just
win a
spin a
box
wheel.
of candy for a quarter, Jared.
You could just spin oh, that's not bad. But yeah, but you might spend like $3, $10, whatever, before you get it.
Possibly. But there was a little kid beside me who won a box of candy. He like just got there. He might spend $1 and he got a whole
That doesn't mean that
freaking
you'll
box.
win one just because he got one.
No, I know that, but I have won one before, and that's kind of like why I like to play it. But and I mean, if you put a quarter on every single number, obviously you're gonna win. So you at least win 2 candy bars, and you'll pay $2.75. It's not too bad.
Isn't a candy bar like $1?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So you can pay $2.75 to win 2 candy bars, or you can just pay $2 and 12 cents or whatever to get.
Jared, do you not understand
candy bars.
what a game is? Have you ever gambled
I
in your
get what
life?
yeah, but I don't gamble for candy bars.
Oh my god.
I gamble for
It
other
is
money.
So fun. So we won like 20 candy bars, and I think I have like 1 left.
Yeah, could you find it real quick? Great.
This is the last one I have.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah.
Red Lobster.
Red Lobster biscuits sitting in your room.
I haven't yet to eat them yet.
That's disgusting. I mean, I love Red Lobster biscuits, but why don't you just eat those already?
Because they're cold. I got warm them up.
That was like 2 days ago when we talked about that.
Yeah. My mom came in and threw a bunch of Reese Beamer cups in my face, and then she came back in and threw like these humongous Slim Jims in my face and walked right out the room. And then the biscuits. That was my supper. All right, are we done with the podcast yet? We can wrap this up. Gotta play some games.
We gotta do emails.
All right.
I didn't know if you want to talk more about. Yeah.
Good. Let's go. We're back. Dude, I wish I had an angled ceiling like that.
Dude, the bottom of your slippers or your socks, dude, they're disgusting.
Who, mine or
Oh,
Devin's?
Devin,
Oh,
Oh yeah.
you see
I
the
don't have-
bottom,
I don't have slippers. They're
Oh my-
clean.
dude?
They're clean.
No,
Do I look like I have old man legs?
those
With what I'm
Evans.
wearing? No, they're Osiris's.
Mm.
Can you see that?
No, they're Hanes.
Dude, you gotta wear ankle socks, bro. Ankle
No,
socks.
screw that. You
I
gotta
have
cover
it-
your ankles.
I have ankle socks, but the cool kids wear the socks high.
With shorts.
Yeah, because I skate a lot.
Jared, are you planning on dying soon? Is that why you do comb overs now? Funeral hair?
No, because I'm classy, Devin. I got class.
Have a good time editing this.